That would really be a game changer. How soon are we expecting this, and is this even feasible?
The popularity of electric cars has been on the rise lately, and with the increase in this demand comes an increase in demand for ingredients like cobalt. This surge in demand has sparked a quest for car and battery owners to find alternatives to the current top ingredients. And China is leading the way with its sodium-ion batteries, which are not only cheaper, but are admittedly better. When will it be hitting the market? And is it really better than the lithium-ion batteries? Join us as we delve into China's groundbreaking sodium battery technology, which has raised concerns for Tesla's future and left Elon Musk stunned. Two manufacturers join forces to unleash a next-level sodium battery. The two largest battery manufacturers in the world, CATL and BYD, both joined forces to unveil a sodium battery marvel. This could be a turning point for all electric vehicles. But really, what sets the sodium battery aside from the regular electric car batteries? When will it be ready for use on the streets? Think of the Chinese sodium as the popular kid in school found all over the world. It's as popular as the table salt. It is quite easy to extract and does not require tiresome mining processes like lithium does. Sodium-ion batteries take advantage of this abundance by utilizing cheaper raw materials, making them an exciting alternative for electric vehicle makers and all other battery enthusiasts all over the world. Sodium is a very affordable product and sells for the price of a mere 1 to 3% of the price of lithium. Sodium is quite similar to lithium chemically, giving it that extra edge in the battery game. Recent breakthroughs have transformed sodium-ion batteries into real contenders. Now, they can be recharged daily for years, which means that they are taking a swipe at one of lithium batteries' main advantages: nothing like range anxiety anymore. The energy capacity of the sodium-ion battery is something to talk about because it has skyrocketed. If you could, I would like you to guess who kickstarted the research in sodium batteries. Yes, you guessed right. The United States, back in the 1970s. The United States took the first step, but Japanese researchers made some very crucial advancements about a dozen years ago, pushing sodium batteries closer to the limelight. But here's where the twist comes in. Chinese companies have taken the lead in commercializing this sodium battery technology, and they are not looking back. Out of the 20 sodium batteries accounted for worldwide, 16 of them are in China, and that's not all. China is projected to hold nearly 95% of the world's sodium battery capacity. When it comes to recycling, sodium-ion batteries have the advantage. They do not require the elusive earth elements that are associated with lithium. Plus, sodium batteries keep almost all of their charge when temperatures plummet below freezing. Lithium batteries tend to lose their charge when they are paid a visit by the snowman.
Drivers learn the hard way about how cold weather impacts their battery life. This was the scene this morning at a charging station near 95th and Western in Evergreen Park.
Rare earth elements have been plagued by shortages and crazy price spikes. But on the other hand, sodium hydroxide, a key component of sodium-ion batteries, remains significantly cheaper than that of its counterpart. The price of lithium hydroxide has skyrocketed over 1,000% in the last 2 years, whilst its counterpart, the sodium hydroxide, is selling for just a fraction of that price. In terms of price, sodium gets it in this round, but price should not be the only thing to determine. What about performance? Lithium-ion batteries are known for their high energy density and power, which is why they are Tesla's go-to batteries for performance and range. But, as always, there's a catch. Lithium-ion batteries have a not-so-fun safety issue called thermal runaway. You might have come across stories of electric cars catching fire and exploding. Thankfully, this is not a problem that the sodium-ion battery poses. Now, let us look into who is leading the race in the development of sodium-ion batteries. It is no surprise that China is in the lead, with both CATL and BYD, Chinese companies, working very hard to bring sodium-ion batteries to the general public. CATL revealed that these batteries have an impressive energy density of 160 kilowatts-hours per kilogram, slightly lower than the battery type called LFP. The evaluation of patents for sodium-ion batteries shows China leading the pack, leaving forerunners, United States and Japan, in the dust. Chinese companies are even gearing up for mass production this year, as they do not want to waste any precious time. Speaking of, both Japan and the United States are also in a race to find alternative batteries for their decarbonization efforts. They recognize the need for more sustainable options, but they are only playing catch-up to China at this point. According to the business publication CATL, in December, there were a whopping 9,862 patents in force, marking a 12-fold increase over the past decade. Of the 9,862 patents, China has a whopping 5,486 patents, which accounts for more than 50% of the total. Japan used to hold the crown until 2015, and it is not like they are not doing well. It is just that they are miles behind China. They still are in the game with 1,192 patents, whilst the United States owns 719, followed by Korea, which owns just 595, and France with a meager 128 patents. These batteries are the real game changers. They are more cost-effective for the manufacturer. That means that they are more accessible and affordable batteries. And for all cranking amps enthusiasts, don't worry. These batteries perform effectively well in low-temperature areas, making them perfect companions for those chilly winter drives. Chinese sodium-ion batteries boast enhanced safety features in comparison to its counterparts, meaning it guarantees, to an extent, peace of mind on the road. The genius behind these plans, CATL, has even bigger plans up its sleeve. They are gearing up to unveil their upcoming sodium-ion batteries, which will boast an energy density that exceeds a mind-boggling 200 watts-hours per kilogram. These cutting-edge technologies are slated to hit mass production by 2023. CATL first-generation sodium-ion cells are already impressively affordable, costing just $77 per kilowatt-hour. But this second generation, which is set to enter volume production, will bring down that price to just $40 per kilowatt hour. Chinese battery executives spilled the beans in recent interviews, claiming that they have cracked the code for making sodium battery cells similar to lithium battery cells. They have developed a way to synthesize both sodium cells and lithium cells in a single electric car battery pack. You get the low cost and weather resistance of sodium cells, along with the extended range of lithium cells. Experts were skeptical about the potential of sodium-ion batteries. It was thought that these were only specific applications like energy storage. Even the big shots at CATL, the big shot battery manufacturing company, were a bit on the fence. Some even suspected that CATL's sodium venture was just a ploy to get lithium suppliers to lower their prices. However, they were in for the biggest shock of their lives. Fast forward to 2022, the landscape experienced a dramatic shift as the development of sodium ions gained traction and the price of lithium skyrockets. There are numerous reasons why the world is moving away from cobalt and lithium, and some of these reasons are so terrifying they will leave you shell-shocked. TikTok users vow to give up e-cigarettes for cobalt mining. Cobalt is essential for powering our modern technology. The metal is commonly used to make lithium-ion batteries, which are found in items such as electric vehicles, computers, smartphones, and even e-cigarettes. As many countries pivot towards renewable energy, demand for these batteries has never been higher. Global demand for cobalt is expected to grow fourfold by 2030, according to a white paper report from the World Economic Forum, largely thanks to the widespread adoption of electric vehicles. Yet the cobalt that helps power them and other technology comes with serious humanitarian concerns, where it's mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. These mines have been the subject of investigations and news reports, and they recently gained widespread attention on social media platforms like TikTok. Concerned about the conditions that produce cobalt, TikTok users have pledged to give up their e-cigarettes or vapes, which contain trace amounts of cobalt in their batteries. This lustrous, silvery blue metal helps batteries store a vast amount of energy while also keeping temperatures stable in the cold and scorching hot temperatures, which has made it useful for many aerospace, defense, and medical applications, and a key element in many clean energy technologies. Cobalt also plays a vital role in the performance of lithium-ion batteries. In contrast to common household batteries, lithium-ion batteries can be recharged and reused for years, but they are also more expensive and difficult to recycle. These batteries do everything from powering handheld devices to storing energy on electrical grids. But this dynamic material is also expensive, toxic, and difficult to extract and process. More than 70% of the world's cobalt comes from mines in the Congo. There, 15–30% is sourced from artisanal mines where thousands of freelance miners work in subhuman and degrading conditions for only a few dollars a day, explained Siddharth Kara, a fellow at Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, to NPR. Kara has been researching modern-day slavery, human trafficking, and child labor for 2 decades, and his recent book, Cobalt Red, outlines how the so-called cobalt rush has resulted in untold deaths and widespread contamination of the area's water, soil, and air. What's more, copper and uranium are found alongside cobalt in Congolese mines. The latter is a known carcinogen. To determine just how much of a toll cobalt takes on people who live near mines, researchers at KU Leuven in Belgium and the University of Lubumbashi in the Democratic Republic of Congo conducted a case study in Kasolo, an urban neighborhood in the city of Kolwezi. The city is in the heart of a Congolese mining deposit. When cobalt ore was first discovered under one of the houses there, the entire neighborhood was quickly swallowed by an artisanal mine, noted the researchers. Houses became interspersed with dozens of mine pits, where hundreds of artisanal miners hunted for cobalt, all while residents continued to live nearby, with seemingly no health or safety precautions. Children living in the mining district had 10 times as much cobalt in their urine as children living elsewhere, says Benoit Nemery, one of the study's authors and a pulmonary specialist at KU Leuven. Their values were much higher than what we'd accept for European factory workers. A major health concern for miners and communities living near mines is the dust, says Nemery. It contains airborne cobalt and other metals, including uranium, that are released during the mining process. Some scientists worry this exposure may cause long-term health conditions like lung disease. The uranium also releases a gas called radon gas, and in the mines, the radon levels are very, very high. Radon is a carcinogen that could lead to lung cancer, says Nemery. But we don't know to what extent there is an increased amount of lung cancer in the area because it's an underserved area medically. Fungurume, Democratic Republic of Congo, Alain Kasongo, Burley and Gauthier worked for 4 years driving the heavy trucks that hauled away tons of cobalt ore from a gaping hole at one of the biggest mines in Congo. The vibrations from the equipment and the jolts of driving over rough ground during his 12-hour shifts could be bone-rattling, he said. Finally, the pain in his spine grew so unbearable that he needed surgery. His older brother, Pachu Kasongo Mutuka, worked the same job at the same mine. He suffered the same injury and required the same surgery, as did 13 other drivers of excavators and trucks at the mine who were interviewed. They lifted their shirts to reveal surgical scars and spread out carefully folded medical records confirming their accounts. They in turn named 7 more colleagues who had suffered the same fate, all within 2 years. It hurt so badly when I went home. I would lie awake at night, said Alain Kasongo, 43, displaying bumps and ridges on his body from what he said were 3 operations. The pressure to produce cobalt is tremendous. It is an essential ingredient in the batteries of most electric vehicles and many consumer electronics. And the Democratic Republic of Congo, or Congo for short, is the king of cobalt. Last year, it accounted for about 3/4 of global production, according to benchmark Mineral Intelligence. This cobalt can come at a high human price. 7 years ago, revelations about dire working conditions in Congo's informal mining sector vaulted into the world's headlines after Amnesty International and the Congolese rights group AfroWatch published a report detailing deaths and injuries among the countless children working in small-scale, hand-dug mines, often in manually carved tunnels that frequently collapsed and buried the young miners alive. Since then, global appetite for Congo's cobalt has grown sharply, mostly driven by a dramatic increase in the demand for EVs. Nearly 90% of the cobalt produced in Congo, home to half the world's reserves, goes into batteries, including those used by American, French, German, Japanese, and So, the Korean automakers. Demand for cobalt is projected to increase 20-fold by 2040, according to the International Energy Agency. EVs are widely considered crucial to addressing climate change. Their adoption is spreading at a breakneck pace, fueling soaring demand for minerals including cobalt, lithium, nickel, and manganese that go into building EV batteries and overall vehicles. But the extraction and processing of these metals in far-flung parts of the world often take a significant and largely unrecognized toll on workers, local communities, and the environment. Without a full accounting, there is a risk that the green energy transition could repeat the painful history of earlier industrial revolutions. These industrial mines accounted for about 89% of Congo's cobalt production in 2020, according to a study by the U.S. Geological Survey, although industry insiders said some smaller industrial mines buy hand-dug ore and include it in their tallies. The very biggest mines, operated by companies such as Swiss-owned Glencore and China Molybdenum, CMOC, say they do not buy any ore from hand-dug mines, which are known as artisanal mines. Former employees, artisanal mine bosses, and residents who live near the mines said in interviews they believe that's true, noting that it would be hard to conceal truck convoys transferring ore from hand-dug mines. But unsafe, artisanal mining persists, as does child labor. In locations visited by Washington Post journalists, workers in flip-flops and torn t-shirts, including some who appeared to be teenagers, crowded into huge open pits or descended into the tunnels that honeycomb the ground. Their ore is usually bought by middlemen and smaller industrial mines, refined locally, and then shipped to China, where it disappears in the opaque global supply chain. Yet, even industrial mining can be hazardous. In interviews, 36 current and former employees at 9 of Congo's industrial cobalt mines describe the dangerous work done every day. Some said their employers treated injured workers well and offered alternative jobs, but many told of workers who suffered life-changing injuries on the job and then were either fired or saw their medical bills rejected, in what they contend was a violation of Congolese law. Patrick Kazadi Mumbai, a neurologist in the mining town of Lubumbashi, has treated hundreds of miners. He said he knew of at least 150 heavy machine operators, the drivers of large trucks and excavators, who needed spinal operations in the past decade, almost all for herniated discs. They accounted for half of his patients. I was seeing very young people with spinal problems, he said, calling the rate of injury very unusual. Most of the injured operators who were interviewed for this article were in their 30s and 40s when they underwent surgery. Mumbai said the number of those injured is likely to be far greater than those he has seen, since many mine workers seek treatment only when their discs or vertebrae are so damaged that they need operations. Some miners conceal their injuries until they become unbearable so they can continue working. The cases aren't limited to the Tenka Fungurume mine, where Alain Kasongo and his brother worked, owned by CMOC, the world's second biggest cobalt producer, but are common across Congo's industrial mines, he said. Heavy machine operators say they are exposed to constant, strong vibrations for long periods, both day and night, as they work 12-hour shifts with only one break 6 days in a row. Some countries recognize such vibrations as a medical risk that must be managed. The operators are also subjected to frequent jolting, they say, as they drive their heavy vehicles along uneven dirt tracks. Julie Liang, CMOC's Vice President for Environmental, Social, and Corporate Governance, said the company has adopted several measures to protect the health of heavy machine operators. The condition of their seats is checked to see if they vibrate, and if they do, the operators are to stop their work immediately so that maintenance teams can examine the seats and replace them if necessary, she said. The company also checks to make sure that roads in the pit are smooth so that the trucks do not jolt or vibrate, and trucks are to be loaded initially with soft material so that heavier boulders don't make the truck jolt, she said. During the past 7 years, the company's occupational health department has reported that 28 heavy machine operators have undergone back surgery, according to Liang. The mine currently employs 534 operators. Ensuring responsible mining practices, including the health and safety of mine workers, is essential for the industry's future, said Susanna McLaren, head of responsible sourcing and sustainability at the Cobalt Institute, an industry body. She said companies are encouraged to follow principles and guidelines set by the United Nations, the International Labor Organization, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. But Gregory Mthembu Salter, an expert on Congolese mining who founded South Africa-based Puzumoya Consulting, which researches African political economies and natural resources, said international concern about mining conditions, so focused on child labor, has overlooked threats to the safety and rights of workers in the industrial mines. How can you base a green revolution on trashing the Congolese environment and exploiting Congolese workers? He asked. And indeed, this is a question that has reverberated throughout the entire globe. How and what can be done to stop the inhuman practices in Congo? Stopping this will lead to a drastic reduction in the production of lithium-ion batteries, which a lot of industrialized companies rely on. So, what next? The battery with more energy density than lithium-ion batteries. Iron-air batteries are a type of metal-air battery that uses iron as the anode and atmospheric oxygen reactions with a catalyst as the cathode, coupled with an electrolyte to facilitate the charge transfer. First studied in the 1970s, the operating theory is that during discharge, the metallic iron anode oxidizes to iron oxide by reacting with hydroxyl ions in the electrolyte. At the same time, oxygen from the air is reduced at the cathode, forming hydroxyl ions. These reactions produce water and an electric current. During charge, iron oxide at the anode is reduced to metallic iron, and hydroxide ions from the electrolyte react with a catalyst at the cathode to generate oxygen and water. Iron-air batteries use abundant and non-toxic raw materials and have a very high theoretical energy density, potentially higher than lithium-ion batteries. However, iron-air batteries also have several challenges to overcome. First, they have low Coulombic efficiency due to the undesired hydrogen evolution reaction that competes with the desired reduction of iron during charging. Second, they have a low round-trip efficiency of around 40% due to this low Coulombic efficiency and a high overpotential during the charging and discharging cycle. This means a significant amount of the energy required to charge an iron-air battery is lost and not available during the discharge of the battery, reducing the amount of energy that is stored. Further, this battery chemistry may be susceptible to anode corrosion, cathode clogging, and cathode poisoning from contaminants in ambient air. And unlike lithium-ion batteries, an iron-air battery has additional system complexity and balance of plant requirements for the air cathode. Iron-air batteries also have a relatively low power density and poor rate capability, which means they are not well suited for applications requiring rapid discharge. For these reasons, the majority of the capacity of an iron-air battery would not be accessible for diurnal cycling and would likely only be fully utilized a few times per year, severely restricting their applicability. Whilst these iron-air batteries provide a better alternative to lithium-ion batteries, it is not the only alternative to this cobalt mining-based lithium. Flow batteries, rechargeable batteries. With longer battery life, flow batteries, also known as redox flow batteries, are a type of rechargeable battery where energy is stored in liquid electrolyte solutions that are kept in external tanks, as opposed to conventional batteries where the energy is stored by electrodes within the battery cell itself. Flow batteries consist of two separate tanks of liquid electrolyte solutions. The electrolytes are pumped from these tanks into a cell where they are separated by a membrane. One electrolyte acts as the cathode and the other as the anode. The electrochemical reactions take place in the cell. During the discharge phase, when energy is being supplied for an external device, electrons are transferred from the anode to the cathode, creating an electric current that oxidizes and reduces the electroactive species in the electrolyte on the respective sides of the cell. During charge, the electroactive species in the analyte, anode side of the membrane, decreases the oxidation state, while that of the catholyte, cathode side, increases the oxidation state. During the charging phase, an external power source is used to reverse this reaction, replenishing the electrolytes. Flow batteries have a very long cycle life and minimal degradation over time because the energy is stored in the electrolyte rather than in the battery cell itself. Another advantage of flow batteries is that they can be left completely discharged for long periods without suffering any damage, which is not the case with many other types of batteries. They also have a quick response time. Flow batteries have some downsides as well. Their energy density is significantly lower than lithium-ion batteries, meaning they take up more space for the same amount of energy stored. This makes them unsuitable for portable applications or situations where grid storage is needed in urban or suburban areas. They can also be complex and expensive to manufacture and maintain, as the system involves pumps, sensors, and control units to manage the flow of the electrolyte. But then the question of whether this is the best alternative arises. Is it really the best? Are there other alternatives better than this out there? Nickel-hydrogen batteries, the combination of opposing forces. Nickel-hydrogen, NiH2, batteries are a type of rechargeable battery that has been primarily used for satellite and space applications due to their robustness and long cycle life. Nickel-hydrogen batteries consist of a positive nickel-hydrogen electrode and a negative hydrogen electrode, separated by an alkaline electrolyte, usually potassium hydroxide. The battery's energy is stored and released by the electrochemical reactions of the nickel hydroxide and hydrogen electrodes. When the battery is discharging, providing energy to an external device, the nickel oxyhydroxide is reduced to nickel hydroxide. Water is consumed at the positive electrode, and hydrogen is oxidized to form water at the negative electrode, generating electrons that flow through the external circuit. When the battery is being charged, these reactions are reversed. NiH2 batteries have a high specific energy and a long cycle life. They can endure thousands of charge-discharge cycles with minimal performance degradation, making them ideal for long-term applications like satellites. They're also capable of operating over a wide range of temperatures. Despite the flammability of hydrogen gas and the associated risks of storing gases at pressures of up to 1,200 pounds per square inch, nickel-hydrogen batteries are reported to have a good safety profile. On the other hand, NiH2 batteries are more expensive than other battery technologies due to their complex construction. They also have a lower energy density compared to lithium-ion, and their charge-discharge efficiency is not as high. Both types of batteries have environmental considerations. Lithium-ion batteries have raised concerns due to the mining of lithium and cobalt used in some lithium-ion chemistries, while nickel mining for nickel-hydrogen batteries also has environmental implications. The environmental implications of the nickel-hydrogen take some point off of it. Perhaps, let us check out another that might just be better than this. Liquid metal batteries. the liquid-based electrolyte. A liquid metal battery is composed of 3 layers. A top layer with a low-density liquid metal that serves as the positive electrode, a bottom layer of high-density liquid metal that serves as the negative electrode, and a molten salt layer in between that serves as the electrolyte. These 3 layers naturally settle into distinct strata based on their densities and immiscibility. During the discharge phase, ions cross the electrolyte and cause an oxidation reaction at the negative electrode and an adduction reaction at the positive electrode that provides electrons to the external circuit. During the charging phase, an external power supply is used to drive the reaction in the reverse direction, regenerating the original composition of the electrodes. Liquid metal batteries can operate at high temperatures, which can minimize degradation and enable a long lifespan. Because the system is entirely liquid, it doesn't suffer from the cycle-to-cycle capacity fade seen in many solid-state batteries. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another of our interesting videos.